management minor, and my site is the Small Business Journal, smallbizjournal.com. Small Business Journal is a site that covers news that affects the 1,700 small businesses in Indianola and Warren County. And today I'm going to tell you about how I developed the idea for the site, the content I post on my site, how my site has been doing since it was launched, and what I've been doing to promote the site. So first, developing the idea. As I said, I am a management minor, and so I study business. I'm interested in business, so it just seemed like a good idea to combine my major and my minor together in this project covering small business news. The 1,700 small businesses in Indianola and Warren County are an underserved market. There are news sites that cover business news, like the Wall Street Journal and the Business Record, but they only cover news nationally or statewide. They don't cover specifically local news for Indianola and Warren County, and that's where my site comes in and fills in that local void. Business owners are obviously busy. They do everything for their business. So my site would also be a convenience factor for them, bringing in news from a bunch of different sources, bring it all into one place so they don't have to search. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in my content section of my presentation. And finally, location. Covering local business news. It's good to be in the area that you're covering. So since I'm at Simpson College, I'm 4 blocks away from the Indianola Square, where the majority of Indianola's businesses are located. It's also where the Warren County Economic Development Office is located, so I have access to that. I'm also 10 to 30 minutes away from other towns where I might cover small business news, so it just seemed like a really good fit to cover local small business news in Indianola and Warren County. Site content, obviously, local news, that's where my site is different from other small business news sites. I cover city and county news, what's happening in Indianola, Carlisle, Norwalk, and then businesses from these towns, they can see what other businesses are doing in other towns and possibly implement those things in their own towns. Like Indianola has a facade grant, which they can apply for to renovate the outside of their buildings, and maybe businesses in Carlisle think that's a good idea, and they can propose that to their business, so they can kind of see what each other is doing. I also cover county news, like the Norwalk Casino. That affects small businesses, not just in Norwalk, but in the entire county. I also cover community events that would possibly bring in a large influx of people to a city or the county, so businesses can prepare to market to those people, to get them to come to their businesses, and be prepared to sell to those businesses, to those possible potential customers. I also localize state and national news. One example of this is in New York City, they're testing a digital tip jar in cafes there. And I covered that story about possibly businesses could use that technology when it is eventually launched. And then I asked a small business owner who uses a normal tip jar in their business to see what they thought about the technology, if they would use it. So that's kind of sort of how I localize the news. Like I said before, I cover state and national news. It's kind of similar in that I cover laws being passed or considered that would affect small businesses either in the state or nationally. I also cover other news like tips, like their tax tips or other things that would be good for businesses. This is where I bring everything into one place. So I look at different publications all over, and I bring it in to one place. So businesses don't have to go to each individual site and find that news. They can just find it in this one spot. I summarize the news and find major points so they can just get the news quickly, figure it out. And then if they want more news, I link to it so they can get more information about that particular topic and just save them time that way. I also have a feature on my site called Ask the Consumer, in which I do consumer interviews asking consumers for feedback about what businesses are doing. I ask consumers about what businesses are doing to get their feedback so businesses can figure out what's working for consumers, what's not working, what needs to be improved. I did this one about Girls Night Out, which is an event that Indianola recently held on Friday. more people to come to the square and see what's on the square.
There's no sort of steady pace. It's not a shopping center. It used to be, of course, back in the day. So I think events like this week, I'm going to say, gee, I didn't know there were 2 stores on the north side. I didn't know there were 4 stores on the east side of the square. Those are the things that we have to know about. And unfortunately, there's no place to market other than just the local paper. So this is good. I think the storefronts are starting to kind of shape up and be a little more appeasing to the eye. If you don't catch my eye, I'm not going to sell your store.
Interview consumers about what they're thinking about what businesses are doing in Warren County and in Iowa. And what I found out about interviewing consumers is that some of them are camera shy, so it's harder to find consumers that are willing to go on camera to talk about what businesses are doing and how they can improve. But there are people out there, obviously. I was able to talk to a few people at Girls Night Out. I also have a contact page on my website, so business owners can submit their own ideas about what should be covered on the site, because the site is for them. I want to be covering news that is of interest to them, that they want to know more about. So I have a contact page for that as well. Here's how my site has been doing since it's been launched in March. And as you can see, in April, there was a little bit of a drop-off where nobody actually was coming to my site, but that was also during Easter weekend, so if anybody is like me, you go visit your family, you're not really online looking for news. So I think that's partly to blame for that. Otherwise, my views have been consistent, steady throughout. The site got one little dip there, and actually they have been going up here in the last few days. So possible signs of things to come, of more people coming to my site. And I've really found out that this is not a if they build it, they will come kind of site. It is you need to let them know it's out there. So what I've been doing to promote my site is I've been using Facebook. I created a Facebook page for smallbusiness.com to promote my site. I've been liking local businesses' pages, so maybe they'll like back and then they can get updates about my websites through their Facebook page. I've also been linking to the site on their pages with specific stories that may be of interest to them, so they'll be interested to click on the site and come to the site. I've been also using Twitter, but I have found that small businesses in Iowa and Warren County don't really use Twitter, save for a few who post deals of the day to their followers. So I have been promoting to them, but other than that, not a lot of businesses use it. But that's not to say that in the future, when small business owners know that the site is there, that they won't use their own personal Twitter accounts to follow the site via Twitter. And then face-to-face I have found to be the best way to communicate that my site is here, by going to business owners and telling them, introducing myself to them and my site, explaining to them what it is about, and then giving them a business card with the site's name, with its web address, a little bit of information about what it is to remind them about the site, what it is, my contact information so they can ask me any questions, and also Twitter and Facebook information as well. And I just found that it's better when you go there and you give the site a face than rather just contacting them through Facebook, like, who are you? So that is what I have done so far with the site. Any questions?
Thank you.
So what kind of feedback from you about groceries? They're really interested, especially when I tell them different stories that I am posting. One story is Iowa is adding a tax to goods being sold to fund the Natural Resources Reserve, and that adds like 6 and 3/8% tax to it, to goods that businesses are selling. And one business owner was like, I had no idea that was happening. He's like, I'm really interested in reading that article. So they're really interested in that it's coming, that the news that's being posted
obstacles you see moving forward?
Just getting more people to come to the site. It's been really slow, obviously. I only had like 350 views or so far. But I think once the site becomes more established, more news being posted, more people will come. But it's just getting the word out there, either myself or through Facebook and Twitter, just more promoting the site. It's definitely needed to get viewers.
And as far as your business plan, were you making this sustainable?
Yeah. So in the future, once there is readership, obviously the way I would make it sustainable, I need a readership first. So I don't really have that big of a following yet, but I would offer subscriptions to newsletters to make it even more convenient for business owners to come to the site, because if you email to them directly, they wouldn't have to check their email and then go to the website. They would just have that their email, and they can click on the link and go to it. So I'd have subscriptions to that. I would also be selling ads to people who would supply small businesses with things like office supplies or stuff like that to make it sustainable. And then any business owners who are interested in the site can donate to the site for underwriting to say, I support this site, that sort of thing. So that's that.
Did you look at any other either online business news outlets or anything like that? And when you were putting this together, what you use and what news did you think was good and you wanted to use?
I think it was basically, I just wanted to fill in that void of the local news missing.
Well, did you look at other examples of business news publications or business news outlets to get ideas for yourself?
Not really. I just knew there was a void there, and I just really wanted to fill that void. It wasn't really kind of mimicking another site or finding another site that I really liked. I just wanted to fill that void. So I didn't really, it wasn't really anything out there that I really liked that was doing that.